Hi, today we'll read a few verses from Psalm 19, verse 7. The law of the Lord is perfect, restoring the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgment of the Lord are true, they are righteous altogether. They are more desirable than gold, yes, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the drippings of the honeycomb. So here, David writes about the Word of God from verse 7 to 10, right? This is the perspective of a believer, a child of God, right? We can see David pouring out his love for the Word of God, right? And if we also look at another Psalm, chapter 17, he compares himself with his enemies, the wicked. And he says, You bless them with treasure, you fill their bellies, you satisfy their children, and leave them in abundance. He talks about himself and compares himself with his enemies who are blessed, who are in their abundance, living their lives. But in verse 15, chapter 17, verse 15, he says, As for me, I shall behold your face in righteousness. I will be satisfied with your likeness when I am awake. Here, David is completely unbothered by his enemies. He's not bothered by his enemies, but he says, I will behold your face in righteousness. David has seen the highs and lows in his life, and here he says, I shall behold your face in righteousness, and I will be satisfied with your likeness when I am awake. Right? That is a believer's perspective. That is the perspective a child of God needs to have. Right? And today's life, we chase after success, we chase after victory, we chase after abundance, treasures of this world. But that's not what our life is called out for, right? As believers, as children of God, we have this beautiful Word of God with us to start our days, to live by, right? Always guiding us when we meditate on it, right? So our perspective needs to be eternal rather than temporal, than of this world. We have to think on kingdom terms rather look at temporal pleasures and stuff. So like David says, the word of God, they're more desirable than gold, yes, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the drippings of the honeycomb. That is the perspective that we need to have. And we know 1 Peter 1:25 says, the word of the Lord endures forever. Let's have an eternal perspective. Let's love the word of God like David did.